I want to get into the Commanders' OC search and an observation that I've made here. So yesterday we talked a lot about Mike McDaniel. I still believe Mike McDaniel would be the home run hire, okay? If I am putting together a list of candidates in the order of how badly I would want them to be the OC in Washington, Mike McDaniel would be at the very top of my list.
Okay.
Please understand this. Please hear me. I don't think right now I would bet on Mike McDaniel becoming their offensive coordinator. I tried to make this case yesterday as best I could, both on the fact that I think there's a good chance he gets a head coaching job, but I'm also not 100% in my conviction that this is the best offensive coordinator job. I think it's a really good one because you have Appeasing Daniels, and I think in the case of Mike McDaniel, it's even more sellable and good because his best buddy, Dan Quinn, is the head coach here. So there are connections. It makes a lot of sense, and if they hire him, I will not be shocked. I think it's very high on his list. But if I had to bet right now on who became their OC, he would be second on my list. David Blau, internally, would still be number one. I think he's being slept on a little bit in terms of how serious an option he actually is. I wanted to make the case and lay this out as to why I feel this way. This is based on speculation, but I would say informed speculation, conversations I'm having, things I'm hearing. But I want to get your reaction to that first. This idea, it just seems like everyone's talking themselves into, McDaniel's not available, we got to find someone else. McDaniel's available, it's happening, he's the OC. And it's just like written in pen now that he's coming here. I think everyone needs to hold their horses a little bit.
So what I need, well, let me rephrase it this way.
What you need is them to get on a plane and go get him.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's my answer. And I think that's what a lot of fans would want. If the reason he doesn't come here is because he doesn't come here, if he chooses a better situation, I'm just, for him, he prefers Detroit. He prefers Baltimore with the new head coach, whoever it is.
To today?
No.
Tampa Bay.
Maybe he prefers Tampa.
Todd Bowles as head coach, him working with Baker Mayfield. To me, that would be super weird. I don't know why that would be a better job than Washington, but they do have some good weapons at receiver. But
easy to win division. If you're just mildly competent, you get double-digit wins, and everyone thinks you're good. Obviously, Mike Evans is ageless, but Godwin, Egbuka, a pretty good set of running backs. Kate Otton's pretty legit at tight end.
McMillan's pretty good.
Yeah, McMillan. Yeah, there you go. It's a pretty ready-made turnkey operation where you could be pretty good, just to hit the ground running.
They definitely have better weapons than Washington. There's no doubt.
Yeah, so not much work is needed there. So, but I guess the point is, if you lose the bidding and you end up with David Blau, okay, that happens. That's sports.
Okay,
that's
so
life.
how they get there matters to you.
Yeah, I think a fan would look at it and go, "Damn, I wish it was us. I wish they'd push harder." But I don't know if you could blame an organization if someone doesn't choose you, right?
Right.
If it's you guys, we got him, David Blau, and I'm going, could you have had the super genius? You know what I mean? Where it's like you know the guy that you're elevating before anybody else does. Now, David Blough might be great, and I've before Mike McDaniel was even a gleam in my eye, that hiring made sense to me. I think that's a smart, reasonable, sort of helpful transition to Appeasing Daniels. You're kind of blending the best of his familiarity with Kingsbury and sort of that staff with a slightly different offense, you would think. I don't know what David Blau's offense is because he's never called one before.
Well, he doesn't have one yet.
He doesn't have one yet.
He would be creating one. Yeah. But what I like is he would be combining Ben Johnson stuff that he ran in Detroit with Shanahan stuff that he's been a part of.
You would think so.
With, and this might be really important to them, some Kingsbury stuff that Appeasing Daniels has run to help smooth that transition. So you could have this hybrid of all three kind of being melded together. But let me make the case here for why I'm not convinced, but I just think it needs to continue to be a topic of conversation. So first things first, and this is the part, I guess, that you could be okay with. Mike McDaniel is up for head coaching jobs and will be interviewing. If you are going to try to get McDaniel as an OC, you are going to play a waiting game here. I'm talking weeks, not days, okay? Now, maybe it's only 2 weeks and it's like 12 days or something, but it also could be 26 days. Are you willing to wait this out? I still think there's going to be more openings, or maybe one or whatever, but if Buffalo gets blown out this weekend, if Green Bay loses this weekend, I don't know that they're going to fire LaFleur. They certainly shouldn't, but there's some speculation they might. If Pittsburgh loses, would the Steelers come calling to Mike McDaniel? Like, there could still be more jobs, and this whole thing starts. We've already known that John Harbaugh is not even beginning his interview process till next week. So teams are still just lining up who they're going to interview. So Mike McDaniel, as a head coaching candidate, if he wants to be a head coach, which we don't know, but I think he probably is going to at least do some due diligence and some interviewing, that could be weeks. There is then this possibility that you put all your eggs in that basket and go, Mike McDaniel's our guy, we'll wait till he doesn't get a job and we'll hire him. In the meantime, David Blau goes to Detroit, a couple of the other guys you like, Todd Monken or whoever, get other jobs.
Yep.
And this becomes Eric Bieniemy all over again, where you're the last team to hire your OC and you're left holding the bag. That is a big risk that I don't know that I am willing to take on. Okay, so that's the first thing. Do you want to slow your process down? Does he even come here if he has the choices of head coach or other OC jobs? So that part I think you're on board with and understanding.
Yes.
Then there is more the why they might, I'm not going to say prefer, but why they might side with Blough over playing the McDaniel waiting game. I cannot shake how many times Dan Quinn in the last 2 years has talked about the layering of this offensive staff as a succession plan. How many times do you think we've heard him talk about that? Like 30?
It feels like not during the weeklies when it's like this guy's
Right.
injured, we're talking about return to play, we don't miss our mark. But anytime he's not talking about basically Terry McLaurin or somebody that's injured rehabbing, it's that.
Dude, it's the thing I learned that made me a better coach.
Yeah.
It's the reason this one's going to work and last one didn't. He has referenced, maybe not in specifics, but the time in Atlanta when he felt like he made this huge mistake, when Kyle Shanahan left and he didn't have a plan, and all those guys went with Kyle, and he went outside the building to Steve Sarkisian, who was like considered this pretty safe hire, and it didn't work, and he ended up having to blow him out. Well, he chose him over this young guy who he thought was a little too green, and he didn't want to roll the dice on, giving his first job, named Matt LaFleur. And so LaFleur follows Kyle and now is one of the more successful head coaches in the NFC over the last several years. This would feel like that all over again, and I can't shake the possibility, after all the times he's talked about succession plan, grooming our own guys, developing these young dudes in the building, it would feel like that again. Now, I happen to think McDaniel is not Sark. Here's another problem. McDaniel would be a home run hire. Let's all agree to that.
Yep.
Mike McDaniel, OC, excellent. Everyone's excited. Let's high five and throw a party at Pupatella Pizza. He would be here for 1 year. There is not really a world, if it goes well, where he is here for more than one season. Blough, I think they feel like, would be a multi-year solution. He was an assistant quarterbacks coach this year.
Yep.
He's not going to get a head coaching job next year, even if you have a really good year. See Washington in 2024, which is hard to replicate in 26. But even that year didn't get Cliff Kingsbury to the front of every list. He could have taken a New Orleans job.
He could have taken the worst job there.
But it wasn't like he's definitely going to have a job.
Right.
And that guy had been a head coach before.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So Blough, it's a multi-year, maybe even 3, but certainly 2 years of him running your offense. If you go with McDaniel, you're signing up, ideally, if it goes well, for Jaden learning 2 offenses in 2 years, 3 offenses in 4 years, and I think they like the idea of that continuity. And then here's the last thing I'll say. I also think there is frustration from Daniels and his camp over the Cliff decision. And, maybe a better way to put it, more team-friendly way to put it, less that you're appeasing Daniels with Blough, but there is a reason to want him to feel comfortable running some of the things he's run, giving him some of the offense he had in this transition, and then building other new wrinkles into it than just doing a completely different thing. So this is a way that they go, Jaden, I know you wanted Cliff. You're boys with Blough. You're close with Blough. You're going to run some Cliff stuff. We're also going to take the stuff from Cliff we didn't like that much out, and Blough's going to put better stuff that we like more in. So there is this like meeting in the middle while Daniels has one of his guys, and you don't have to worry about that relationship with the next OC. So these are the reasons that I think you should not be counting out David Blough, and why I think they are actually very high on the idea that he could be their offensive coordinator.
So the requisite, of course, is that he can do it, is that he's as smart as everybody says, and the rep isn't just because he, I don't know, was a cool guy in Detroit that time, and he actually is a future OC. Not just because they're the only ones willing to give him an opportunity. See Scott Turner, see Eric Bieniemy, whom you mentioned, right? I need it to be because that guy is a rock star, and you're getting him a year early instead of a year late. A la, think about Sean McVay walking out of the building. Think about McDaniel walking out of the building, LaFleur walking out of the building, all these other guys that went on to be really good coaches that were just sort of here under your employ, and you had no idea that you in what you had. If you really do have something special and you're promoting a guy a year early, I'm all in favor of that. Seriously, I am. If it's just because, well, Jaden's a little pissed off and he can't, and again, I have no idea whether Blough,
no, I get what you're saying.
We've never seen his offense. He didn't have one yet. And if Blough really can't do it.
By the way, reiterate that for people. He's never called plays. He's never been a coordinator. He's never even been a quarterback's coach for more than a month. This would be a ballsy decision by Dan Quinn if McDaniel would be willing to come here.
Like, what is your terminology? He doesn't know yet because he's never done it. He doesn't have one yet. And that's okay. He might cook up the greatest one. He may
boom or bust.
He may, like Ted Lasso did when he got on whatever the mind-altering drug was when he visited Amsterdam and came up with Total Football. He might do that. I have no idea. But the point is, we've got no precedent here. Thank you very much.
Wasn't that at like a sports bar?
Yeah, he's like, I got an idea. Oh, no, let me eat some wings here. Oh, whoa, that's good sauce. And next thing you know, it comes up with Dirk Kite's Total Football.
Right.
The point of the dude's story is we have no idea what it's going to look like or how. I bet you he's a great offensive mind. I bet you he's really good at relating to Jaden or young players because he's one of them. He's 30 years old.
He played quarterback in the NFL 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So that's kind of the new trend line, right? Think of former players in all the sports just sort of walking into the
Davis
coaching
Webb
roles.
is getting head coach interviews.
Yeah, a bunch of dudes. And I feel like he started a playoff game for the Texans an hour and a half ago. But there we are. So it is a risk, but it's also if it can be sold and explained the way that you just did without, I don't think Adam Peters is going to send up there and go, listen, if we had this one guy, he'd be out of here in a year. But you got to find a way to let everybody know that that's sort of the case. That would make a lot of sense to me, I think. But it just how it happens, I think, matters.
I'm hoping for McDaniel, but I would also feel when they announced Mike McDaniel that this is a one-year rental, whereas Blau is more of a multi-year purchase. And I think that they might like that idea. I also would wonder, but I bet that this is not why they should make this decision. I don't think it is why they would make the decision. But for what it's worth, I think Jaden Daniels would back Blau, which I'm interested in how important is that to Dan Quinn right now as well.